As I was sitting there listening, I was just amazed at how time flies. I remember coming to services when I was younger, and all these people up would be wearing glasses. And I always wondered, why are they wearing glasses? To read. Now, the only thing good about turning 65 for me was I was able to qualify for Medicare. Those of you who know me won't be surprised at what I say. Those of you who know Whitby will know what I say is the truth. Those of you who don't know both of us very well, I'm going to apologize ahead of time. And as my brother said, I probably could wing it, but I might not make it. So I'm going to have to read much of it. Just like his Rafu articles that he was very passionate about, it really bothered him that there had to be a disclaimer at the bottom. Man, I can see, but I'm like, gosh, that's pretty good. Okay. So I need to begin this with a disclaimer. The following is one person's memory and view, and is definitely not the opinion of Centenary Church. Apologies in advance for anyone who will be offended by what is said in the next few minutes. Trying to describe my dad without a few inappropriate words is next to impossible. I was surprised Ken Hayashi only used one or two. I rewrote this many, many times, and I took out as many bad words as I could. I Googled eulogy just to see what not to say. And it says, do not talk about past indiscretions, character flaws, and don't use crude language. So, I am not calling this a eulogy. This will be called Whitby's Chronicles Uncensored. Everyone here has their own impression of him, however brief, in person, by reading his articles over the years, or many of you with lifetime relationships. My goal here today is to fill in some of the blanks for you to get an insight to who he was. How can you fit 94 plus years into a few minutes? You can't. But I'll try to highlight a few things and hope you get a fuller picture of who Whitby was. I'll start with the sage advice that I received as a young man growing up from my dad. So we'll call these 5 Whitbyisms. Number 1, treat everyone equally. You can be friends with the CEO or the maintenance guy. No one person is better than the other. He met a lot of famous people. Yamato throughout his life. John Wayne, Chick Hearn, Trisha Toyota. She's probably the best looking one. Pat Morita. He treated them all the same, and they all appreciated him. Number 2, he always told me, humor will always break the ice. Intelligence is highly overrated. You will not always be the smartest, best looking, most popular person in a group, but people love to laugh. Number 3, Be confident in yourself. You may not always be right, but be wrong with gusto. He was a master at this. If you ever had an argument with him, he would defend his position till the end. And part of you would always think, damn, maybe he's right, even though you know he was totally wrong. Number 4, always make people feel special. Let them talk about themselves and listen, since you already know what your life is. Make them feel as if they are the only person in the room. He told me to use that one with women, and it really worked. Sorry. Lastly, when in doubt, use big words. Half the people will think you're smart. The other half will be embarrassed because they don't know what you're talking about. And they won't say anything. But it was best put by the intellectual scholar W.C. Fields. If you can't dazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with bullshit. Obviously, my brothers and I had most experience with him as a father, watching him as a husband. You're molded by your parents, and usually take after one or the other. So if you notice, that wreath, technically USC colors. This wreath, even though it's kind of purple, UCLA colors. My mom went to UCLA. My dad went to USC. So this is her last jab at him before they married. Both my brothers took after my mom. Happy-go-lucky? Check. Always smiling? Check. Sensitive? Check. All around nice people? Check. Me? On the other hand, I had the honor of inheriting some of Whitby's traits. Bad eyesight? Check. Bad back? Check. But there were good things. Love of gambling? Check. Love of drinking? Check. I followed in his footsteps. Both of us worked for a bookie? Check. Mine paid for my MBA. Lastly, professional BSer? Check. But the most important thing I learned from him was the written and the spoken word. Reading his articles, listening to him talk, his ability to reach people, it was pretty amazing. As I said earlier, he taught me to relate to people, listen to what they have to say. Treat everyone with respect, make them feel safe, and give them your full attention. But it was his writing that had the most impact on others. And this is who he was. Crossroads to somewhere and around, obviously, as long as I've been alive and longer. From writing on his own, in his own newspaper, to the Tozai Times, and finally to the Rafu Shinbo. It's funny, you've come full circle. I used to be involved in AU. I used to give Mickey Komai headaches galore. Then 40 years later, my dad gives Mickey Komai headaches galore. Everyone didn't agree with everything he said, and that's okay. He was that person that makes you feel. whether it's serious or funny, happy or sad. Even the people who wrote back saying, "You suck writing," he took everything into consideration. But all these people felt emotion, and that's all you can ask for from a writer. I know some people called him the voice of the Nisei. He was proud of that, but he didn't think it was necessarily true. I think a better term would have been maybe a voice of the Nisei, or one of the voices. And I think that would be appropriate, and other people wouldn't be so bothered by it. But he had the platform to express his views and those of others who didn't have that opportunity, and that's what he took. This next 30 seconds is going to be the only time that I really am serious and not being an idiot joking around. It's going to sound like a public service announcement, and it kind of is. Whippy is no longer here in person. He's going to need help, since his purpose was to make the Nisei journey told and remembered. It's sad that there are not many Niseis left who can tell the stories of camp and what it was like afterward. He would give props to many that people would never hear of or know, just read about, and remember them for their contribution to the legacy of Japanese Americans. Everyone knows the story and uses it. Tell your kids, you walk 5 miles to school, did it in the snow. All those hardships we try to teach our kids. What would be better is if grandparents and parents told stories of camp, how it was, what happened. However horrific, however wrong, it happened. I visited Hart Mountain years ago, and looking at what was left of a barrack, wooden holes in it, and it was, I think, late spring, summer, but I started thinking, if I'm there in the middle of summer or the middle of winter, it's got to be horrible. Japanese American Museum down the street. You look at exhibits there. You're living with hundreds of other people, thousands of other people. And you gotta walk 100 yards to go to the bathroom, take a shower if they had hot water. These are the stories that need to be shared with the next generation. But a lot of Niseis, and I know when they were very traumatized by it, they were afraid that it could happen again. And that's why it's not shared. But I think it needs to be. Future generations need to be told about this so that history is not lost. I've been out of school forever, but I asked my kids, there's maybe a paragraph or two in U.S. history books on an internment camp, because obviously you don't want to make the mother country look bad. I'm not saying rewrite them, I'm just saying discuss them amongst yourself and your friend. My dad's fear was that this knowledge will be all but lost if nobody carries the torch into the future. I don't have the answer, but it saddens me to think that that might happen. Okay, that was the end of the public service announcement. Now back to the other side of his writing, his articles. Always were off-the-wall topics that I could not believe people liked and read. I used to argue with him all the time. The follies of trying to renew your driver's license. How many times you go benjo at night? Who in their right mind tells people that they pluck their whiskers so they don't have to shave? But the topper of it all is Obakism, the ghost. We're talking 10 years of articles. My brother and I actually asked him a few times, "You're just making this stuff up because you don't have anything else to write about." And he got offended. And he said words that are not going to be said here. But we knew it was true because when he mentioned that one night somebody was stabbing him in the shoulder, not knocking on the door. So that we knew it was my mom. So we knew it was true. What I liked most was he was comfortable making fun of himself. That wasn't always the case. I think as he got older, he wanted to show people that he was an everyday, normal, fallible human being. Okay. Strike normal. He was a fallible human being. He started writing because he had a passion for it and he loved it. Then it became a duty for him to share what he always said was the greatest generation, the Nisei. All future generations should be thankful for their pain and sacrifice. Hopefully someone or some group, Nisei who are left, can continue this journey. Okay, I'm almost done. But before I end, I need to thank a few people who helped with me along the way. Sue Sato Tenorio. I just met her in person today. Where are you? I believe that you added years. Okay, I gotta read this up. I believe you added several years to his life by inviting him to share his camp experiences, starting 6 or 7 years ago at the age of 88. Starting with the Breed Street Elementary School 4th graders. He freaked out about that so much, I just said, "Dad, they're 9 or 10 years old, they don't even know what the heck you're saying." Then he moved on, ironically, speaking to UCLA law students. Then USC students and staff. He always stressed out preparing for it, but after it was over, he just loved it. He would always say, "Son, I was a hit." Okay, Dad, pat yourself on the back. Ken and Kim Hayashi. I can't thank you enough for taking him to the USC Veterans Ceremony. I wish we could have been there, but I know it was last minute. But he got his own gold medal, and it was one of the highlights of his life. And to have that happen at 94, Thank you. Reverend Mark, thank you for coming out of your recent, well-deserved retirement to do community service. If you were here, you might be fired afterward anyway, so sorry. He had a close kinship with you. Him and I talked numerous times about his chances to get into heaven. And we all agreed. God is forgiving and can see and feel the true person's heart and soul. But Reverend Mark Whitby's reasoning, Whitby's quote unquote, not mine. If that West Side hoodlum can become a reverend, then I got a chance to go to heaven. To everyone and anyone who shared something with Whitby, my dad, good or bad, happy or sad, he appreciated it all. He kept all kind of stuff, and it's taken months. It's going to take probably years because I can't throw anything away. So we're talking letters, cards, everything. Lastly, to my younger brother Jeff. You did all the heavy lifting and took care of Dad down here all these years after I moved up home. You and your family did all the big and little things to help once Rick and Mom passed. I know he isn't a warm and fuzzy guy when it comes to us, but know that he was appreciative of everything you did, and he's proud to call you his son. Thank you. Okay, really, this is almost the end. I'm going to close with a letter that I penned to him after he passed. And I was hoping, and still am hoping, that there's a quarantine period before his interview to stand at the gates of heaven. So I needed to remind him of a few things. Dear Dad, I was going to say all the things people usually say at funerals and eulogies. What a nice, warm, thoughtful, sensitive man you were. A perfect son, brother, husband, father, grandfather. A great man with no foibles or faults. But Dad, I'm going to be in a church and Reverend Mark will be listening to me. And he's going to be wondering, who the hell am I talking about? I have to tell the truth. You lived your life to the fullest and did it your way. If ever a song matched someone, it's your favorite Frank Sinatra song, Michael. Listening to the lyrics, it's almost as if he's singing about you. No one is perfect, but you got Mom to marry you, so you must have some small redeeming qualities. You raised 3 boys. 2 out of the 3 were well-mannered, obedient, and good people. Then when it came to me, as in blackjack, you drew 16 and busted. Sorry. You broke the nice Japanese boy mold a long time ago. But you survived with street smarts and savvy. I thank you for teaching me what teachers and books couldn't. And I hope I can honor you at your service the best I know how with the tools you gave me. But I will give you the last chance to impart your wisdom with one last Whitbyism. This is at his 93rd birthday.
appreciate who you are, what you are, who you're going to be. It's worth living this long.
Now he can rest in peace because he spoke at his own service. Dad, you are now reunited with Rick and Mom. They have had enough time to pave the way for you and will now be ready to share the journey together. Jeff and I will do our best to keep our families together and keep your memories alive. So please, please, remember this when you get in front of the gate. Don't cuss up there. Don't bet on horses. And I need visual aid, so these are his glasses. Half rose, half. Don't stick your middle finger out when you're trying to make a point. Or when you're fixing your glasses. It wasn't the spoken word, right? You will be truly missed. And Jeff and I look forward to the day we meet again. Goodbye, friend, uncle, grandpa, and dad.